Speaking of Donald Trump, I'm stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline.
Hold on to your seats, because daytime TV just got a serious shakeup, and it's not your usual chit-chat around the round table. This time, the drama comes courtesy of a young, fearless conservative who's turning the White House upside down. Meet Karoline Leavitt, at just 27. She's the youngest press secretary in history. And she's making waves not only in politics, but across the media and The View. Let's just say they weren't ready. Picture this: Karoline steps into the White House briefing room for the first time. No scripts, no crutches, just sheer confidence and poise. She delivers every word like a pro, and yet, instead of praise, the ladies of The View went, well, let's just say they went low.
Been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Joy Behar couldn't resist, and her comment has since gone viral for all the wrong reasons. She suggested that Karoline Leavitt only landed her White House role because, in her words, quoting Donald Trump, she's a 10. That's right. Behar reduced an accomplished young professional's entire career and qualifications to her looks. And it didn't stop there. Whoopi Goldberg jumped in with her own hot take, claiming that Leavitt wouldn't even hold her position if it weren't for what she called woke. According to Whoopi, this so-called wokeness is apparently the only reason women like Leavitt even get a seat at the table. Unsurprisingly, these remarks sparked an immediate uproar, and the internet hasn't stopped buzzing since.
I had something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
Media exploded. Critics slammed both Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg for their remarks, calling out what many saw as blatant hypocrisy. After all, isn't The View supposed to be about empowering women, supporting them, no matter their political leanings? Apparently, that only counts if you agree with their worldview. One user wrote, "If a Republican said anything like that, they'd be crucified." Another chimed in, "Disgusting anti-woman." Behar claimed Karoline Leavitt got her job because of her looks. Imagine the outrage if someone said that about a liberal press secretary. It would never end. And let's talk about Karoline's qualifications, because the woman has the receipts. Before becoming press secretary, she served as national press secretary for Trump's 2024 campaign, communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik, and even worked under former press secretary Kayla McEnany during the first Trump administration. On top of that, she ran for Congress in her home state of New Hampshire, winning her primary before narrowly losing the general election. So, to call her unqualified, laughable. But apparently, doing your homework isn't a priority at The View these days.
Leavitt, she's just 27 years old, but boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House.
But here's where things got really interesting. Karoline didn't just sit back and let these comments slide. Oh no. She clapped back hard, and her response left jaws on the floor. During her next press briefing, she didn't hold back, calling out the mainstream media and, by extension, shows like The View for their blatant bias and hypocrisy. We will hold the media accountable for their lies and smears, not just against President Trump, but against anyone who dares to stand up for what they believe in, she declared. The room went silent. You could practically hear the microphones drop, and if you thought that was the end of it, think again. Karoline's words didn't stay confined to the briefing room, they went viral. Social media erupted in support. One user wrote, "Karoline Leavitt is a masterclass in handling the media." Another added, "She's not just smart, she's fearless. The View should be ashamed of themselves." The hashtag cancel the View even started trending, with countless users calling for the show to be pulled off the air entirely.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on look?
Let's circle back to The View, because the fallout didn't stop at social media. Oh no, ABC executives are reportedly in full-blown panic mode. Rumors say producers are scrambling to contain the disaster. And some insiders even suggest that Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg could now be seen as liabilities. And honestly, can you blame them? This isn't the first time the show has landed in hot water over controversial comments, but this time feels different. The backlash has been so massive that even the show's most loyal fans are starting to question its direction.
No, it's not. So first of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaigns, and worked in 2 administrations.
And let's not forget, it's not just fans and critics making noise. Whispers suggest advertisers are watching closely. 2. Big-name sponsors have reportedly started pulling back or at least reevaluating their partnerships with the show. One insider noted that several major brands are concerned about being tied to what's being described as a toxic environment, especially as consumers increasingly hold companies accountable for their affiliations. The money starts to walk. Networks start to listen. The source added, adding even more fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, several former employees of The View have spoken out anonymously, shedding light on the show's culture. Some allege this isn't the first time the hosts have crossed the line, claiming a pattern of behavior that's gone unchecked for years. One former staffer reportedly said, "What you see on TV is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, there's a lot more that never makes it to the surface." While these claims remain unverified, they're certainly adding to the growing storm surrounding the PS show.
That is the press secretary at the White House doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon.
It's also worth looking at the bigger picture for daytime television. The View has been a staple for years, but its controversies are raising serious questions about whether shows like this have a future in today's cultural landscape, with more viewers turning to independent content creators and podcasts for news and opinions. Traditional talk shows risk becoming relics of the past. One fan wrote, "They need to cancel the show. They are so disgusting and immature. How they can make a career out of what they do and live with themselves is beyond me." Another chimed in, sue them all, and cancel that nasty show." The frustration and anger in these comments are palpable, and it's becoming clear that The View may have finally pushed too far.
Really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for.
Topic of lawsuits. Let's talk about a legal bombshell reportedly brewing. Sources say Karoline Leavitt is considering taking legal action against The View over their comments. If true, this could be a game changer. ABC is already reeling from a previous defamation lawsuit that cost them tens of millions. Another high-profile case could be the final nail in the coffin for the show. The irony is almost too perfect. A program that prides itself on being a platform for women's voices, potentially being taken down by a young woman they tried to dismiss. You couldn't write a better script. Meanwhile, Karoline seems completely unfazed by the drama. In fact, she's thriving. Her first week as press secretary has been groundbreaking. She's introduced major reforms in the White House press room, including opening seats for independent media and restoring access to hundreds of journalists whose credentials were revoked under the previous administration. Many have praised these moves as a step toward greater transparency and accountability. Of course, not everyone is thrilled. Sunny Hostin, another host on The View, criticized the decision, claiming it would allow unqualified individuals to spread disinformation. But let's be honest, when has The View ever been a beacon of journalistic integrity?
Even factoring in that she's a nice-looking lady. I love that the libs attacks on conservatives right now are that we're hot and cool.
And here's the thing. This isn't just about Karoline Leavitt or The View, it's about a bigger cultural shift. It's about challenging the status quo and breaking free from the old media guard. Karoline's approach to the press directly challenges traditional institutions that have long controlled the narrative, and whether you love her or hate her, you can't deny she's making an impact. So what's next for The View? Will they issue an apology? Doubtful. Will ABC finally pull the plug on a show that's increasingly out of touch with its audience? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Karoline Leavitt isn't going anywhere. If anything, this controversy has only cemented her status as a rising star in politics and media. The View, they might want to rethink their strategy, because this time, they've picked a fight they can't win. Now it's your turn. Should The View be canceled for their comments, or do you think they'll somehow bounce back? And what about Karoline Leavitt? Love her or hate her? Is she changing the game in the White House press room? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for updates. Something tells us this story is far from over.